All right, so I'm sitting inside of a 2018 Honda Pilot. This is the Elite model, so top end. Comes fully in all-wheel drive. It's pretty much all the bells and whistles you can get in this car. So the first thing I'm going to walk you through is the key. Just a quick tutorial. You've got your lock, your unlock, remote start. To use remote start, which is this button right here, you always got to press the lock button first and then press and hold this for a couple seconds. It'll fire on the car and get the AC or the heat set to wherever you need it. So that's how this function works. If you needed to turn it off because it turns out you weren't going to be leaving, you can press the unlock button and then the remote start button and turn it off. And then this will pop up in my trunk because it is a powered trunk release. So just a quick tutorial on this, just so you know what the buttons are and how it works. It'll run for 20 minutes if you're using the remote start. When you hop inside of the car, none of the electronics will be on when you do that. So you're gonna hop in, you'll still put your foot on the brake and press the start button to turn all the electronics on the car. And that's just to make sure the key's in the car so that you didn't actually leave it unlocked and somebody drove off in your car kind of thing. So safety feature wise. So, all right, let's start you over on the left side and we'll walk you across. So I've got my power windows auto up and down on my driver's side and passenger side. I've got my window locks and then my door locks. Over on the side of the dash, so you'll see parking sensors are currently turned on, so the LED is on. This is my road departure mitigation system. So if this light is on, anytime I start to drift off the side of the road, it'll start beeping and it'll shake the wheel to let me know, hey, you're drifting, in case you started to get drowsy or something. My collision mitigated braking system, so if I ever wanted to turn this off, I would have to press this and hold it for a couple seconds, which if I do, you'll see that come on and it'll beep at you. So I'm gonna turn that back on. Hold this for a couple seconds, get it on, there we go. All right, vehicle stability assist, same kind of thing. You have to press it and hold it for 3 to 4 seconds for it to turn off. This works with traction control, so in the event that you go into skid, it'll transfer power to whichever tire has better traction to help correct the skid. So that's how this works. Only time you'd ever want to turn this on really is if you're stuck in the mud and wanted to spin your tires while somebody was trying to push you out. Econ button, so anytime you turn this button on, you'll see the Econ deal come up there, so that green leaf. This improves gas mileage. How it works though is it shuts down some of the electrical systems in the front end of the car, affecting things like the AC unit and how hard it blows, and the accelerator on how fast you'll take off. So just be aware of that. It's a limiter of such. My mirrors, so left and right, and then the pad. I will let you also know that if you're reversing, depending on which side, if I have it pushed all the way to the left and I throw it in reverse, it's going to adjust that mirror and aim it down when I'm backing up. So just something to keep in mind. If you want it to be the right side, just leave it to the right. If you have it centered, it won't do it at all. So just a nice feature to keep in mind. Over here on the side of the door, you do have the memory seating. And to set that, it's pretty easy. You just press set, and then these two will light up and you just pick the one you want, and now it's set. On your keys, I will remind you that on the back of the key, there is actually a number on there. So if you can see it, it's tiny, but you can probably see it. Let me get it in the light there. Yeah, driver 1. So I could set key 1 to driver 1 and C2 to driver 2 and kind of have it set up to where it'll kind of adjust for you. So it's just kind of a nice way to do it. On the steering wheel. So first thing I'm gonna start you is right here. This is kind of a quick jump. This will jump between navigation, your Bluetooth, and then your audio. So it's just a quick movement, and that way you don't have to mess with stuff on the screen. My plus and minus is my volume control. Left and right will jump between my favorite stations or to the next track if I was listening to music. Source will switch between FM, AM, the rear audio, and you can see it'll toggle up here, and it will also toggle over on the screen for me. So that's what I'm doing right here, right now. And then this is gonna be like let me turn the volume down on this. It's gonna be like a quick preset jump. So depending on what screen I have open, it'll pull up the options for that particular screen. So when I press it, you can see this pop up, and then I can scan, save presets, things like that. So that's what this for, depending on, it's kind of an inter-menu screen, I guess I would say. My Bluetooth controls. So as far as being able to answer a call, hang up, call, or go back, and then my voice command button. I can also press and hold this till I hear the beep for Siri, and ask Siri to do things like, hey Siri, call this person, text that person, that sort of thing. So nice function there. My car has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if I was plugged in a USB, I could also use OK Google from this button too. So just be aware of that. You'll see my heated steering wheel controls are right here if I want to turn it on. Which if I can get down in there you go, you can see a little bit better. Got a little bit of glare coming off of this. Moving to the right side. So right here is gonna be some of my other Honda sensing features. The main button right here, whenever I have this on, what it's gonna do is gonna turn on ACC and LKS. So that's what this button does right here. Now, as far as setting up my adaptive cruise control, once I get up to speed, I would press set. From there, I can use this button to set the distance it keeps between me and the car in front of me. Now, when I press this button, you're gonna see these boxes come on, right? So you can see them getting littler. The more boxes, the more space it's gonna keep between you and the car in front of you. So that's how this works. And you'll see the icon of a car in front of you when it's reading that car in front of you. Obviously, I'm not driving right now. Now, lane keep assist is right here. When I turn this on, you will see these dotted lines come on, so see them turning on and off. When those are filled in solid, it means it's now reading the road. And it's using a camera that is actually in this box right up here to do so. So that's how that works. So just be aware of that. It works from 45 miles an hour to 90 miles an hour. And reminder, if your windshield wipers are on, it will turn this function off just to make sure you're being safe and controlling and holding the wheel. I do have paddle shifters. You can see them back here. So if I want to adjust this car myself, I absolutely can. And it'll take over. If I try to drop it into first, I'm going 70. Obviously, it's going to shift up for me. So just be aware of that. It's kind of nice since this is the higher speed transmission that came originally from our Acura brand. You'll notice that you have the paddle shifters, and then I have the button controls over here as far as changing from park. When I throw in reverse, I just pull the trigger back. That goes on my camera, and you'll notice I have 3 different views, a wide angle, a normal, and then this is actually aimed straight down so you can see the edge of my bumper right along here. The dotted line on all these screens is where my hatch will open to, and then the solid line is if you were parallel parking on how close you should be to somebody. So that's how that works. So moving back down, you'll see drive. I'm going to shift it back to park here for a second. My traction control settings, so you can press this and then you'll see that I actually have 4 different settings over here: normal, snow, mud, sand. So that's part of getting the Elite. You do get all 4 of those tractions as opposed to some of my other models which only have 2. And then my auto off start, when you come to a complete stop, it does have an idle stop system, but you can turn this off, which I know is sometimes a point of contention for some people. They don't like it to be on. So it's nice to know that you can turn it on and off, and it's easy to do. Moving to the center stack and the touchscreen. So right here, I'm going to switch to the home screen and kind of show you some features. My navigation right here, it's set up through Garmin, so I can work from this way. I have voice command controls, so I can press my voice command button over here and say navigation, and then it'll start me through the prompt if I want to get to something particular. And I'll just go to the map real quick to show you. I can do all the normal things you would do like if you were working from a phone. So it's pretty easy and intuitive for people to use. They understand how it works. So that is the navigation, just so you have a general overview of that. Phone, as far as Bluetooth, once I've connected up a phone, it'll obviously give me access to my contacts and things like that. And if you needed to connect a phone, this was how you would do it. You'd prompt you here. If you were adding a second phone, how I would do that. So I would go to settings. So you can do the first one this way too. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. From here, I'm going to go to Bluetooth device list right here. And then at the very bottom of the screen where it says add Bluetooth device, that's what I want to click. From here, it's going to prompt you to turn the Bluetooth on your phone and then press continue to search for it. So that's how that works. Jumping out information, this is just going to be tripometer information. I can also put up a clock or wallpaper if I just want a plain screen right here. I can load pictures to this through the USB, which you'll see I have 2 USBs right here. If you wanted to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, that would be this USB right here with the phone on it. And that just pulls up. If you have an iPhone, it'll look just like the screen of your iPhone. This button right here will light up and say Apple CarPlay, and you'd be able to access it. And then you'll have access to your maps, your music, your messages, so things like that. So just a different way to go about it. And it's nice because then you can ask Siri to do things. Siri, give me directions to such and such, that sort of thing. So 2 different ways you can use 2 different navigation systems. Going back to the eye, you can also pull up your trip on information. That's what I was mentioning earlier. And that same info I can get up here. So there's a couple different things I can toggle through. And you can see me just toggling through different screens right here. You can see the pressure. And I'm doing that from these buttons right here. So that's how these work. And then if you wanted to reset your trips, right there. So all right, let's jump back over here. Your audio-wise, I'll show you all your different options that you have. So source, I'm going to pull it up here. All right, so you've got FM, AM, 90 days of satellite radio. This does have access to a Blu-ray player, and you can play normal CDs in it. USBs that you can load up, like a USB drive, or plug in like an iPod, iPad, anything with an I will pretty much work. As far as Pandora compatibility, if you use Spotify or something else like that, you do have access to that through Apple CarPlay and Android Auto too, in case you use Pandora or Spotify, so that's kind of cool. But you can also access both of those right here with the Bluetooth symbol. Then you can see I do have rear video inputs that I can use. Let me move in a little bit on that so you can see a little bit better. So that's what's going on there. So jumping back out of that screen, Honda Link just gives you access to your VIN, recall, notices, reminders, things like that for now. My rear audio, so I do have controls over all of that from right here. So if they were watching a movie or something in the back, I can control that stuff from right here. Obviously, we're not watching anything right now. As far as smartphone connection, that's what I just mentioned. Settings. So just a couple things I like to briefly touch on with people. So vehicle settings right here. If you bought the car from me, I probably walked you through a sheet that went over, door controls as far as locks and things like that. So your door setup is right here as far as your locks. Depending on when you want it to lock. Right now it's set up to when you hit 10 miles an hour. When you're getting out of the car, when you open your driver's side door, it opens all the remaining doors, and you can change that. One of the features that I always mention to people that I really like, let me scroll, I think, is it right here? Nah. I'll jump out of this and scroll down here. Where is it? Keyless access setup, I believe. believe. Yeah, walkaway auto lock. This feature is set up to where if I get outside of 10 feet from my car and the key's in my pocket, it'll automatically lock the doors for me. The default is to be turned off. I just like this feature and I turn it on for most people. And that way, if you get into the grocery store and you're like, crap, did I lock my car? You can be assured that if your key got outside of 10 feet, it automatically locked for you. So just a cool feature. And all I did was go to vehicle, or excuse me, settings, and then settings and then vehicle. And all these features are right here. So just so you know what's going on there. So this is a pretty easy rundown of the touchscreen. You can mess with it some more if you want. You can see that I have a place for apps and widgets too. As far as moving down, tri-zone climate control, so I can control left, right, and back separate of each other. And I do have the ability to lock the rear. So if you got little ones that like to play with seats and buttons, you can control that so that they're not messing with stuff. Down below that, you'll see my Blu-ray players right here, and I can also load up a CD there if I want. I do have cooled and heated seats in this model, so that is something you gain in the Elite models. You have the cooled seats, which is great here in Texas. If you're elsewhere, maybe you prefer the heated seats a little more. So a couple things right here, 2 USBs, a power outlet. I already walked you through the buttons right there. Down here, I do have another 12-volt power outlet and a USB in there additionally. And this is the tan interior. Point of contention for a lot of people in this car is having the captain's chair. So you can see I have a small console that you can step over, 2 captain's chairs, and then that third row back there. And I'll walk you back to this third row here in just a second. Let's actually hop back in that second row and show you a couple features that you might have questions about. So, jumping into the third row, you'll see I have my AC controls right here, and then the inputs down here that I can control. So I do come with 2 sets of wireless headphones that will turn on the minute you turn the headphone pieces. So I have 2 sets of those, and then you also have a place to plug in more headphones. So if the 2 people up here wanted to run wired, and the 2 kids in the back, you know, you could do that, or you could just buy another set of wireless headphones. My control back here to my rear entertainment system, so you can see when I throw that open, it pops on. I do have a controller here that charges while it's in there, so you can see that it does have a charging point. Also, this is kind of nice, and you can also give them access to control the radio and things like that from this too. So just something to keep in mind there. All right, so let's move back even further to the rear of the car. We'll look at a couple things there too. So pop this open here. It's powered, obviously, so you don't have to mess with it. You have access off your key, off the dash, a couple different ways to do this. And then to close it, you'll see you have a control right here. If you need to adjust the height, you can. Once you get it to the height you want, you just press and hold this until you hear a double beep, and that'll set the height. Now in the back right now, as far as throwing the seats down, it's pretty easy to do and pull them up. So I'm gonna throw these down just to show you a little bit of the cargo space, and so you can see what's past this third row. So you can see I do have air vents and stuff back here. Right now I have this folded down to where I have some additional space in the storage area. I can make this flush if I need to, so I have access to do that. And now it's 100% flush. So if you saw that, and I can flip it over and use the hard plastic side if I'm worried about something getting wet. So just different ways you can do this. So you can see now I have a lip space that I can use. And then I have another power outlet back here and some additional lip space too. If you have any questions about the car, feel free to reach out to me. You can always comment on the YouTube video. Be more than happy to help you out that way. You can call me at 512-443-4300, or you can always email me, the letter J, and then my last name Fuller at howdyhonda.com. Thank you much.